Hey guys, Creator Mom, happy Sunday. So, there's this thing that people in generations do, older generations, and even people who grew up in the 90s are even doing this shit too now. I was just reading a comment that was like going on about, oh, I feel bad for my 5 and 4 year old, or, they're not like, they're basically saying like they're never going to experience what we experienced in the 90s and all this shit. And people do this all the time, like, oh, and speak negatively upon the current generation of kids, of people. Oh, this generation, oh, and AI, and going to hell in a handbasket, and they don't know anything. They can't even read. They can't even write a check. Like, oh, it's so negative and so unaccepting, and it's so, I don't know. Do you realize that every generation does that shit? That the people speaking that way, well, guess what? The generation before you was also speaking negatively about your generation. Let's stop that cursing of the generations, because look, your kid didn't grow up in your generation. Big deal. They don't give a fuck. They're growing up in their generation. You know what I'm saying? We're in now. We're in the present. Like, let that go. This is not the 1990s anymore. You know what I mean? Move forward. Get on with it. Okay? It's just annoying. And all it does is puts down this current generation. That's fucking ridiculous. You're judging a whole fucking generation of people because you're stuck in the past. You know what I mean? You got to move forward. Time is always moving, changing. So, and if you have kids and you're talking that way about their generation, I just want to say that's fucked up. Basically, you're saying my generation was better. I feel bad for your generation. What kind of energy is that? You should be like looking forward. You should be happy, you know what I mean, for the changes and things that are in this generation. You know, I believe things are moving forward and things are getting better, and things are always never perfect in every generation. You know what I mean? But some things do get better. Maybe not things all are all great. And that we can't act like in one generation everything was so fucking wonderful, and in this generation it's all fucked up. That's really black and white thinking. Like, give me a break. Give me a break. And you're projecting that onto this generation. I believe that every generation attaches to the to its generation, to the people in that generation. It's really interesting to see. And even if you homeschool, like say people that homeschool because maybe they want to keep their kids from experiencing the peers in their generation, I doubt that you can stop that, because we're more than just physical being. It's a spiritual thing. It's a spiritual thing to be born in a certain generation, and the influence of that generation is going to take over, because I think that kids and people are more attached to their generation of people than to their families necessarily, in my opinion. There's a certain thinking, I feel like, that I think that goes on in certain generations. It's kind of crazy. Like, I don't know. I think that if you see people born in certain generations, you'll notice similar thinking kind of like across the board in some areas, And maybe, it's just because you cannot hold back the world from people, because it's more than just physical. It's everything. It's emotional. It's energetic. It's everywhere. You can't hide from it. So you just accept it. You know? You work with it. Yeah, we have a lot of technology in this generation, and it's brilliant. Work with it. Accept it. This is a part of life. And this is going to be a part of our kids' life forever. You know what I'm saying? And they're only growing up into it more and more and more. Why would you hold your kids back from technology and stunt them in that way? You know what I mean? Like, you can't hold them back from what's inevitable. You know what I mean? It's part of their future. They need to know these tablets and computers and games in and out. Why not? They need to know everything that they want to know about this generation, where things are going in and out. We can't hold people back just because we think our generation was better. We do that, like, because we have a tendency to value certain things above other things, right? I've done it, like valuing being outside and getting in the mud. And I see all these people boasting with their kids, especially like homeschoolers. Oh yeah, my kid is out in the mud. They're in nature. They're building. They're doing the things that kids are supposed to do. They're not sitting indoors and on those video games. They're not on those video games and those computers. They're outside and come on, stop it. Stop it. You're still devaluing one thing in order to put something else above it. We need to stop. I've done it too, you know, but it's wrong. I think it's wrong to devalue one thing that somebody's doing and say, okay, you've done enough of that now. You need to get outside because that's better. And my kids, my kids have done both. You know what I'm saying? They have had point in times where they're outside. And then point in times where they're, what do they call it? Not hibernating, but cocooning. That's what I grew up with, and it's annoying as fuck for somebody to interrupt you and say, oh, no, you've done too much of that now. You're getting obsessed. You're too much. Well, according to who? Is it your job to know what balance is for somebody else? Or is it that person's job to, feel it out for themselves when they're done with something? Because sometimes people will go into a subject and deep dive until they feel that they've exhausted the thing. One of my kids will do that with a video game. Like with Zelda, Breath of the Wild, and Tears of the Kingdom. It's like a deep dive. You beat the game, but just because you beat the game doesn't mean you exhausted everything in the game. There's challenges, tons of challenges to do, tons more shit to explore inside the game. So they exhaust it. It's kind of like eating chicken. Some people like to really eat everything on that down to the bone. And they're even sucking the bone marrow out. That's what people need to do sometimes when it comes to topics or games or things. They get deep dived into and they need to exhaust that thing. And when they're tired of it and they feel like they've gotten all they need to out of it, they leave it behind. And not everything that a kid is doing means that's going to be their job when they grow up. Okay? Not everything that is an 11-year-old's passion doesn't mean that's going to be their job. Excuse me. I have to stop myself from thinking like that too sometimes. Like my 11-year-old, he's into a lot of different things, but he's into planes a lot, And I would talk about being a pilot and stuff like that, but it's just like, it's kind of cringe. Because just because he's into planes doesn't mean he's going to grow up and be a pilot. You know what I mean? He might just be into planes for a few years, and then who knows, when he's 15, he might just forget all about planes and never think about it again. It's just a part. It's an interest. So It might become something and it might not, but it's still a part of their growth and development, you know? I feel like we always want to turn something into something, you know? I don't know why we do that. We're just like obsessed, I think, with like being successful and, oh, we'll turn that into something. What do you, take a class or blah, blah, blah. Like we got to relax and just let them explore. And sure, maybe they want to take a class or do a summer camp but maybe they don't. You know what I'm saying? So, what the hell was my point here? Yeah. So generations, yeah, I think that kids attach to their generation. They're going to attach to their generation more than they're going to attach to you. Because it's their generation. They're going to relate to that more than they relate to you. And that's it. That's okay. So let's stop putting down generations. Like always putting down the AI and, oh, these kids. And it's just like, so what? We're going into a different place in the future. We're not going where we were before. If they don't know how to write checks out, dude, if you have to learn how to write a check real quick because you never had to use it, how long does it take to learn that? I'm sure if they had to learn how to write a goddamn check, they would learn it in 5 minutes. And that's it. We like make a big deal about it. Who cares? They don't. How many times are you writing checks? We don't need to really write checks these days. Everything is online. There's not many instances where checks really need to be written a whole lot. And if we had to write it, we learn how to do it in 2 minutes. Easy. There you go. Oh, goddamn. Oh, that's a bumblebee. I thought it was a damn hornet. Hornets are bigger. All right, I'm done with my soapbox. Bless this generation. Hell yeah. Let's go. Let's do it.